Hey guys, how are you all doing? This is the MMA breakdown with my recap of UFC on Fox Sports 1 or UFC Fight Night 26, Shogun versus Sonnen. Great night of fights, a lot of incredible finishes, incredible performances, but I'm just going to recap the card and give you my thoughts on what occurred. So, first up, we had James Vick submitting Ramsey Nijem in the first round with a guillotine choke. Very impressive. James Vick was a guy who was doing pretty well on the show on the Tough Live season. Had a real good knee knockout of Darren Cruikshank and then was winning against Michael Chiesa up until about the last minute of the third round when he got taken down and finished. But Nijem was going in for the takedown, was being aggressive with the wrestling, and Vic pulled off the John Jones choke, where he had like the full arm under the guy's throat and then pushed up. And just had it unlocked and real tight, but real impressive. This guy's solid, James Vick. I had picked Nijem to win. I thought, he's had a few fights under his belt already in the UFC. I thought he would be more experienced, but Vic, I was really impressed, and I'm excited to see what he can do from here. And Nijem, I hope they don't cut him. I've enjoyed his fights, but these are two bad, quick first round losses in a row. But I think he could bounce back if he's given the opportunity to stick around. Next up, Ovince St. Preux, OSP versus Cody Donovan. OSP knocked him out in the first round. I had picked Donovan to win. I'd picked him to win by knockout, but Donovan was getting some good work in there early. He was holding OSP up against the fence, hitting him with some nice close range shots. And then he went for the takedown, and OSP just reversed it easily, ended up in mount, and only had to hit him with about 3 or 4 shots. Donovan had his hands up blocking his face, and OSP just came right around them, and one of those punches really rocked Donovan and just broke his guard wide open, nearly put him out, and he was done. A real savage beating by OSP. Big power. Really redeemed himself, in my opinion, from his last shitty performance against Volante. But this guy's got big power, and I'm excited to see him again. Donovan, who knows what they'll do with him. They might cut him, but I'd like to see him stick around as well. Next up, Manny Gambarian defeated Cole Miller by unanimous decision. I thought Miller would win, although I wasn't sure because both of these guys I think are, on the tail end of their careers. Even though neither, at least Miller's not that old, but Cole Miller in the first round seemed to be working his jab, landing a bit more than Gambarian. And Gambarian kept trying for a takedown at the end of the round. Gambarian was going for a takedown, had Miller against the fence, and Miller landed 2 elbows to the side of the head. Gambarian, he went down, holding it at the back of his head. He wouldn't get up at the end of the round. Basically sat there for, I don't know, it must have been like 2 or 3 minutes. And frankly, that was bullshit. The fight should have been stopped right there. The ref didn't say it was an illegal blow, so the fight should have continued. The fight should have been stopped. If you're going to give him time like that to recuperate and rest, then you've got to call it an illegal blow and take a point away, which I don't even think it was illegal. They showed the replay, but the fight definitely should have been stopped right there. And actually, MMA Junkie reported that Miller's going to appeal the loss. He thinks the fight should have been stopped, and definitely should have. But anyway, it went on, and Gambarian just kept getting the takedown, never did much with it. He's taking Miller down over and over, which I thought was kind of surprising. I thought Miller would be able to use his guard more effectively, but he didn't, and Gambarian grinded out a real close decision. I think I scored the fight for Miller, but it was really close, and both these guys I mentioned in my other video, I don't think either of these guys have been fighting with much inspiration lately, and I'm not really excited to see either of these guys again. I don't think they have much left to offer unless they, really make some changes. And next up on the preliminary card, Diego Brandao defeated Daniel the Pit Pineda by unanimous decision. I thought Brandao was going to win this. I thought he would be able to finish more easily, though, either on the ground or on the feet. But Pineda, I really love this guy. He's real scrappy, great submission guy. All of his wins have been by submission. But in the first round, Brandao was just tooling Pineda in the stand-up. Pineda was tough, stayed in there, but he was getting knocked around. I think got knocked down a few times, but hung in there. And then the second round, it got really interesting. Pineda was on bottom, and he went for a Kimura and used it to reverse and get on top. It was really nice, and he got full mount, and he was raining down some pretty good punches, and I thought the fight might have been stopped, but Brandao held on, and then he just used that takedown in the third round, took Pineda down over and over, and that won him the fight. Both guys were horribly fatigued. Yeah, they definitely have to improve their cardio, both of them. Brandao, that's been his thing in the past. His bad cardio. But, yeah, I don't see Pineda getting cut. He was really tough, hung in there, nearly got a finish. But I think both guys are going to be better after this. But Brandao's really got to work on that conditioning. Next up, Steven Siler beat Mike Brown. Holy crap, this was a breakout performance for Siler, even though he's been very good in the UFC. And I actually picked Siler. I thought he'd win by decision, though. I didn't think he was going to get the knockout, although I did think he would be more active on the feet. Mike Brown came charging in. Not sure if he was going for a takedown or looking to throw some bombs, but Siler connected with a real beautiful short uppercut as Brown was coming in. Rocked him, Brown went down, and Siler was all over him. Finished the fight with only 50 seconds into it, and huge win for Siler. He mentioned it in his post-fight speech that when he was... his fight to get into the house on The Ultimate Fighter, he was matched up against Micah Miller, Cole Miller's brother, and everyone thought that Siler was going to lose, and Dana White already crossed him off because, Micah Miller, he thought he would win because of his name, and Siler ended up winning, and he mentioned that, and he said now, he went from the guy being crossed off the list by Dana White to being the former WEC champ, and incredible performance. This guy's, I'm really high on this guy. He showed he can win by decision. He's won by submission. He's real good with his hands. Got a big knockout win now. I think this guy can do it all, and he's real young too, 26. Definitely see this guy just getting better and better. I think he will break into that top 10 and the elite of the division. I think he's really good. And Mike Brown, I think it's time to give it up. The guy's had a great career, incredible career. Knocked out Uriah Faber at a time where Faber was unstoppable. But I think his chin's just gone at this point, and he's a little too old. He has gotten some good wins, managed to beat Pineda in his last fight, and we saw how tough Pineda was against Brandao. But, I don't want to see the guy get knocked out again like this, but he's had a great career. And next up, Conor McGregor beat Max Holloway by unanimous decision. Great performance for McGregor. I picked Holloway. I know that was unpopular. I don't think anyone else was really picking Holloway. Everyone I listened to was picking McGregor, but even though he didn't get a finish, I still think the hype was justified for this kid. First of all, he's got an incredible physique. Looked real strong and a lot bigger than Holloway, especially at 145. I think that's going to be real good. But he's using that karate stance and throwing some very unorthodox stuff. He's throwing hook kicks, all different kinds of stuff. And his hands, he was just real quick, a lot faster than Holloway. And I was surprised. I thought Holloway would be more technical. But McGregor really used his reach well. Holloway was never able to get anything going, could never get inside. And just after about 2 or 3 minutes, Holloway's face was already busted up. McGregor just so crisp with his striking, so fast and aggressive, very composed, never went crazy. Never looked like he got tired, and then later in the fight started landing takedowns, and he looked okay on top, and that was a big question for a lot of people. We never saw his ground game before, but he was able to get the takedowns and showed pretty good control, so didn't get the finish. A lot of people, I think, put a lot of stock into this guy, but it was a really good performance. Holloway, I think, is very good, and Holloway's so young. I think he's 21. He's got a good 10 years left in this sport. I think this is going to make him a lot better. And McGregor, definitely on the rise. And then next up, Michael Mayday McDonald submitted Brad Pickett in the second round with a triangle choke. Oh my God, the first round, this was such an incredible, savage beating that McDonald was putting on Brad Pickett. He was beating the fuck out of him, looking to take his head off, all over him. I don't know how many times he dropped Pickett. He was all over him like a rabid dog. Had him hurt and was just throwing big flurries at him, chasing him around the octagon. Dropped him several times. But Pickett's so tough. He kept swinging back, but wasn't able to land much, and toughed it out until the second round. And then I was actually distracted at the beginning of the second round, but when I got back, Pickett was on top, and I was really surprised. I assume he got the takedown, but he was landing, he was throwing some small shots, but he was winning the round, and McDonald was just composed, and as soon as Brad Pickett postured up, he slapped on that triangle real quick, was working the triangle armbar. Pickett tried to scramble out, and McDonald held on, was able to get the tap out from the triangle, and amazing performance for this guy against real elite bantamweight and Brad Pickett. Real high on McDonald. He's really young. I definitely see him as being a guy who can contend for that title again, whether it's against Barao or Cruz, whoever the unified champ is going to be. But Brad Pickett, I always love seeing him fight. Incredibly exciting. He's got so much heart, fights real hard, but I think that might be the end of his title hopes. But, he's definitely good for an exciting fight anytime. But McDonald just, that first round, man, oh man, it was all over him. It was really incredible. And then finishing with the submission, just a very, very good performance where he got to use all his tools. Loved it. Real high on McDonald. And now we move on to the main card. Michael Johnson beat Joe Lauzon by unanimous decision. I had picked Lauzon, although I was hesitant. If you don't believe me, you can go watch my predictions video. I thought that Michael Johnson, I said, I'm picking Lauzon, but I wouldn't be surprised if Michael Johnson's striking is going to be too much for Lauzon, and that's exactly what happened. Johnson was just real sharp on the feet, throwing real good combinations. Lauzon had nothing for him on the feet. Lauzon's tough, though. He didn't get finished, but Michael Johnson really put a beating on him. Lauzon never really tried to go for the takedown, never went for broke. A few times here and there he landed a punch on Johnson, came forward a little bit, but this was Johnson's fight all the way. Really disappointing performance by Lauzon. And I said it in my other video again, I think we've really seen the limitations of Lozon's boxing game. He caught Melvin Gillard with a punch, but then go look at the Miller fight. He was totally outclassed in the stand-up. And Michael Johnson, this guy was on an incredible 3-fight win streak when he beat Shane Roller, Tony Ferguson, and then after getting blasted by Danny Castillo, his eyes rolled back in his head and nearly getting submitted with an arm triangle choke. He somehow hung through all of that, and then just hit Castillo with a short jab, knocking him out. That was an incredible win streak. I mean, nobody's finished Castillo or come close in the UFC. And I was real high in this guy, and then he just had these bizarre losses against Miles Jury, who I think is very good, but Johnson was just totally outworked, totally shut down in that fight, and then getting submitted by Reza Madadi, just bizarre performances. But this was a real good win for him over a very respected guy like Lozon, and I think if Johnson keeps his head right, and he fights to the best of his ability, I think this guy can be real dangerous in the lightweight division. I think he could easily be top 10, but he's had these bizarre performances, and I worry that he might have some more like that. But really excited to see this guy move on. Lozon, he's been up and down. His last several fights, win loss, win loss. Incredibly exciting though, and I wish he could make a title run, but don't see him doing it at all. He's very limited with his stand-up, and he doesn't have the wrestling where he can, easily use his jiu-jitsu all the time, especially against wrestlers. But yeah, Michael Johnson's moving on, and I think I don't know if Lozon will come back from this. Next up, John Howard beat Uriah Hall. Split decision. A terrible fight. I thought Uriah Hall, after that real uninspiring performance against Gastelum, I thought he'd come back ready to go, ready to take someone out, and it looked just like the Gastelum fight. Uriah Hall, he doesn't have that killer instinct. Whoever he was on The Ultimate Fighter, that's gone now. And John Howard didn't look impressive either. It was basically a kickboxing match. John Howard got the takedown a few times. But Uriah Hall, this guy's just missing the killer instinct. After the fight, Dana White said he's not a fighter. Sounds really harsh, but I gotta agree. We'll see if he can come back from this, but two really poor performances for a guy who's so talented. I mean, even in this fight, you saw flashes of brilliance, the speed, the accuracy of his strikes. He throws these kicks and punches that come out of nowhere, and they're so fast. But John Howard managed to get the decision. Good for him. Who knows what they'll do with him next. And Uriah Hall, I don't think they're going to cut him, but he's definitely got to, take a real good look at himself and, fix whatever's going wrong. And also, I just want to mention, at the end of the fight, there's 10 or 15 seconds left. These guys high-fived, and I thought that, and then they, I guess they wanted to be exciting. I thought that was really embarrassing. They were trying to throw all these crazy kicks. I mean, this isn't an NBA All-Star game. We want to see the better guy win. I didn't like that, but whatever. And next up, Matt Brown just completely railroaded Mike Pyle. Not even 30 seconds into the fight, knocked him out. As soon as the bell rang, Matt Brown just came charging forward with, I guess not as soon as the bell rang, but pretty quickly into it. Matt Brown just came charging forward, throwing big bombs, and Pyle just had to back away, and Matt Brown was all over him, landed some big shots, quickly put Pyle on the mat and finished him off. I had picked Matt Brown to win by knockout. I didn't think it would come that easily like that. Real good win for Matt Brown. Two guys who've had incredible win streaks late in their career, late career resurgences. I think it's the end for Pyle, though. His chin, I don't think is. I think it's pretty suspect now. We saw in the last fight against Story, he nearly got knocked out, and then Matt Brown just touched him and he went down. We also saw, I mean, the guy's been stopped a lot in his career. He's stopped by Rory McDonald, Jake Ellenberger. No disrespect to Pyle, I've loved watching this guy fight. I love seeing an older veteran, going on an incredible win streak. I mean, this guy had 3 first-round finishes consecutively. And Matt Brown, this guy's been on a tear. He's definitely in the top 10 now, no doubt in my mind. His hands have improved so much. I mean, go watch the fight against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, where it was a real gritty fight. Thompson was able to drag that out, and Matt Brown even nearly got finished at one point, and now he's just tearing through guys. He's got so much confidence. His hands are incredible. And I want to see him get a top guy next. I want to see him fight either the winner of, the winner of Condit and McDonald, Condit and Campman. And I also thought him against Robbie Lawler would be an incredible fight, but it's just been announced that Robbie Lawler is going to fight Rory McDonald. So Matt Brown, I think he's really close. You know, the guy's on an incredible win streak. The knock on him is he hasn't been knocking out top 10 guys, but Pyle was just outside the top 10, I think, and Brown's real close. I'd love to see him get a title shot. I think that would be great. He says he can out-wrestle GSP and beat his ass. He's not out-wrestling GSP, but that's a real interesting fight. Could he get it done on the feet? I definitely give him a chance. But next up, Uriah Faber beat Yuri Alcantara by unanimous decision. You got to give a lot of credit to Faber for taking a fight against a real lesser name opponent. This could have been terrible for him if he lost, and it looked like it was going that way in the first round. Faber went for a takedown. Alcantara reversed it. He ended up on top in mount, and Faber was stuck down there. He started hitting him with some good shots. He started to work the rear naked, but Faber fought his way out of it, and then it was just complete domination from there on. Faber took him down, held him down, was smashing him with elbows and working him the whole fight. Real good performance by Faber. I said I was a little worried that he's older now and starting to fade. I thought in the last fight against Young Guns he faded considerably as the fight went on, but real good performance by Faber. I think I'd like to see him fight for the title again. I don't know if he could get it done against Barao or anyone else whoever would be the champion, but an elite guy. He's on a real good win streak. I was really impressed with him in the Jorgensen fight, but Yuri Alcantara, he's a tough guy. He's done really well up to this point. I don't know if he can ever be a legit contender, but Faber, he's moving on, and I'm excited for him. I love watching Faber fight. Everyone's saying Faber and McDonald. That would be a great fight. Definitely makes a lot of sense. Young, up-and-coming kid who's just... The ceiling on him, I think, is, very high. And the old veteran and Faber still beating everyone. That would be an incredible fight. Yeah, let's do that. Faber and McDonald. Next up, Overeem versus Travis Brown. Brown knocks him out in the first round. I had picked Brown to win by knockout. I didn't think it would go like that. I thought he would get it more easily, and I thought he would. I thought he'd use his movement, but Overeem right out of the gate just blitzed Brown, hit him over and over with knees to the body, and Brown would just bend over. You could tell how much those were hurting him, and then Overeem would just hit him in the head, holding him against the fence. Used body shots, kept hurting Brown over and over to the body, and Brown went down at one point. I thought the fight was going to be stopped there, and an incredible display of heart. Brown got back up and kept going, and then just looked like once Brown got back up, Overeem had blew his wad, and he wasn't aggressive anymore. And Brown threw the front kick and landed it, I think, like maybe 5 times, 3 or 4 times, and Overeem did nothing to defend it. And sure enough, one of them caught him and knocked him out, and followed up with a punch. But I was not high on Overeem coming into this fight. I thought he was done. And when he started teeing off on Brown, I thought, okay, this guy's regathered himself, and he's going to make a serious run at the title now. But Brown recovered and knocked him out. Brown's real good, so he's got a lot of heart, but I don't feel like, he was fighting a guy who put up obviously Overeem was close to finishing him, but once Brown recovered, it didn't seem like Overeem really had much left to challenge Brown. But I think that's the end of Overeem. I mean, a really bad loss, especially after being so dominant. And then, like I said, Brown threw that exact same kick like several times, and Overeem was just standing right in front of him, eating it. Brown's moving on. I don't think he has what it takes to be the champion, although he's very good. I just don't think he's as good as Kane or some of those other guys. But, he could fight Verdum. There are a lot of other tests for him, I think. You got the winner of Barnett and Mir. But Overeem, who knows what's going on with him? Is it a testosterone thing? Is he just not that good anymore? Who knows? But I think that's... I don't know. I don't think he can put together another run after this. And then the main event, Sonnen submitted Shogun in the first round. And if you don't believe me, go check my predictions video. I called Sonnen by submission. I was actually really happy that that's how it turned out, because I acknowledged myself that was kind of a wild pick, but and yeah, I didn't think it would come like that. I didn't think Sonnen would create the submission so much as it would open up for him after I thought he would be on top round after round and just beat up Hua and tire him out, and I thought the submission would open up that way, but Sonnen came right out of the gate, took him down, and you could definitely tell Sonnen he's not as dominant a wrestler at light heavyweight, and Hua, I think, looked considerably bigger than Sonnen, but Sonnen was still able to get the takedown. Or the first takedown he attempted, Hua was able to get on top, and Sonnen did a real good job, didn't take much damage, and was able to work to get back up to his feet, kind of like he did in the Jones fight. But then he was able to get the takedown after that, started working his signature ground and pound with his small shots. But Hua looked frustrated, looked tired already, and I think Hua got back up. Sonnen latched onto the front headlock in the guillotine position, and when he had that front headlock, I did not think he was going to go for the submission, but he did, pulled guard, and just cranking on that thing. Hua tried to hand fight. Sonnen just cranked harder on it and got the tap out. Very impressive, and you guys definitely have to acknowledge this is a huge win for Sonnen as far as his resume goes. not only finishing a top 10 guy in another weight class, but a former champion, and a former champion who has not been finished since he was the champion. The only other guy to finish Hua since he was, or the last guy to finish Hua was John Jones. An incredible achievement for Chael Sonnen, and I love Chael Sonnen. I thought this fight would be a lot tougher for him, and I don't think he gets the credit he deserves because of how much he talks and how much he promotes himself. But make no doubt about it, this guy